Hi, and thanks so much for joining me. Today we are featuring the La Jolie palette by Surratt. So when I looked at this palette, I was immediately drawn to these colors. I thought they were right up my alley. Of course, I will swatch these for you. We'll do a demo, and then we'll talk about, is this palette worth it? The palette arrives in this black Surratt box. It's like a matte finish. And then the palette's inside a fabric pouch. Now we've got the packaging here, lots of different shades depending on how the light hits it. And the palette looks very, very close to the image that I saw online on Beautylish. Yeah, the only thing I think the photo doesn't capture are the finishes of these two right here. So there's a bit of a duochrome going on in there, and then this is more shimmery than it appears in the palette online, but these two look quite accurate as well as this. So let's go ahead and swatch them and see what they really look like. Starting with this shade, this is called Grwm, a gray taupe with a matte finish. And that's the one that captured my attention. I love the shade Grwm. Although I have to say, there isn't as much gray as I anticipated. It's very minky, soft kind of brown. Then we have the shade Brun Noir, which is a brown black with a matte finish. And this to me looks like a charcoal gray, but with just some warmth in there, a little bit of pink. So I think that's going to be really pretty together with this one. And then this one is the one that looks very different swatched versus in the pan. I'll show you in a moment. But this is the shade Cosmos. It's pink with golden reflex and a duochrome finish. And you can really see that duochrome in there. This shade is Satin Salmon, a soft peach with a satin finish. I really like the shade here. I would have to say though, there is more shimmer than satin, at least the satins that I like, but let's see how this looks on. And then we have here Ponceau, which is a salmon pink with a satin finish, and this is the blush. It is really vibrant, more vibrant than I expected it to be, so curious to see how that will look on as well. I wanted to point out this Cosmos shade is this one right here, so that's how different they look. I definitely did not expect this shade when looking at it online like that. Let's go ahead and revisit some of the items that were in my favorites, but maybe not my top favorites, but still really, really nice items. Going in with the SISLEY Blur Powder for priming. Let me know what new releases you're most excited about, because I am usually the last to find out about what's new, but I do have certain people who alert me of when there are new things coming up, so I appreciate that. But I've ordered a little bit of everything so far. So this is the first in a series of lots of new releases. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are subscribed so you can see all of the new beautiful new items that are being released by Dior, Chanel. We've got Surratt here today. Who else did I order from? Ooh, Charlotte Tilbury. Looks like they have something new coming out. I will be trying out quite a bit. Let's go in with this foundation. I do love this one. Chantecaille. Gosh, foundation makes such a big difference, by the way, when it's the right foundation, because I think I used one recently where it was not the best foundation for me and everything else didn't look good because of it. Not that it didn't look good, it just didn't look as good as it could have if I had had the right foundation. So I've got Nude in the center here, Wheat on the exterior. So you can see how this really does provide a nice base for foundation. I don't usually do that combination, but I try it out today. We are gonna go in with the Sisley though. One of you let me know that the Sisley, this concealer was on sale somewhere, I think Space NK, but they didn't have my shade. Otherwise I would have picked it up. That's how much I rely on the PEAU concealer brush now that I won't even try another brush. I can't find it though. So I do know I have another one in another room. So let me go get that and then we'll finish up that concealer. So yes, thank you so much for the tips on when things are on sale, because I really do appreciate it, because I'm also a customer. And then I can pass along the information to everyone else as well. I try and post both on Instagram stories, because now you can click on the link to shop directly. And I also post on the community tab on YouTube. Chantecaille, this is the Le Camoflauge Stylo, and this is in 4C. Let's revisit the Chanel color corrector. Let's do that. I believe it's the same formula as the concealer, but there's peachy tones. I mean, this looks like a concealer. It's a color corrector though. This is in the shade Peche. So I haven't used this for a while, but let's see how this goes. Just for my darker areas, usually, you know, I'll go in with Clé de Peau, but let's try it here today. Okay, this brush definitely helps with that, because I can get in all the little pores in the front, and then I can kind of blend it in on the edges. Does have the tendency to settle in though, so just be careful. Go in with a nice thin layer. Yeah, this might be better for something that's not as textured. Something with like a flatter surface, I think it's good for this. Let's go ahead now with the RODIAL powder. Now this was in stock. I don't know where it is anymore in process, if it's not in stock anymore, but it seems like they're able to at least restock it. But when it's restocked, it seems to be going quickly. It's the RODIAL glass powder. So just watch the community tab in case you wanted to try it, because I will post if I find it. And then, like I said, thank you so much for letting me know when you see these things pop up so I can share. Yeah, that is my caution about that Chanel color corrector. Just be careful around textured areas. Of course, I have to finish with this. I'll also leave the affiliate links down below for all of the new items that are available, in case you wanted to pick anything up and you haven't seen the postings on Instagram or on the community tab. Yeah, community tab. Going over the Next Generation Eye Base by Chantecaille. Gucci eyebrow pencil. Yeah, I use that Grande brow serum, and I actually have little hairs, I think you can see them better over here, growing in, so I actually need to take some tweezers and clean that up a little bit. Of course, I can't find my tweezers because I try not to pluck my eyebrows too much, and now I can't find them. Diorshow Pump and Brow. I'm gonna go in with Chantecaille's bronzer in Sirena. Finally, the palette. It always takes a minute to get to the eyes here. So I'm not quite sure actually how dark that will be, that grayish color. And I did just wash all my brushes. I love when they're clean. I do need another set. So thank you for your suggestions as I continue to look around and see what there is. I'm gonna go in with this first. I just wanna build that up because I don't know how dark that's going to be, if it's going to be like an overall color for me or a really great crease shade. So let's just do that first. Usually I'll go in with something lighter first, but let's see. Okay, that's really pretty. I like that. This is what I was hoping for with this color. Just a beautiful neutral color for the crease. Of course, this reminds me of a couple of neutral things that I have. So after I do the look, I'll pull some things out and we can swatch together and see what they remind me of. Also, some of you let me know that these shades appear in another palette by Surratt. I actually realized I don't have any palettes by Surratt. Yeah, the only thing I have by Surratt that I love is their eyelash curler, which is amazing because it fits a contour It's to contour my eye because some of the eye curlers are too flat, so it needs to be rounder like this. So it fits really nicely and gets those little lashes, although I don't really curl my lashes anymore, but I used to, and that one works really well. Also, the price of this seemed a little bit higher than I guess what I would expect, but I started to look at the other eyeshadow palettes by Surratt and the price point is, okay, also, they come out. Wow. Yes, I did read something about how you can use a push pin to push them out. So that's another thing. You can change these out. Yeah, I was just talking and I turned it upside down open and they fell out. So just be careful. Okay, what was I talking about? Let's go in with, I can't remember. Let's go in with this, the shimmery shade. I'm gonna use my finger here because I'm not sure how it's going to go on. Although here it doesn't look as shimmery as it did when I applied it as a swatch. So far I really like these shades. Now I don't know how excited I am about this one because it's just not what I normally wear, but we'll try it. Let's go in with, I found my number 20. Wayne Goss, I love this brush. This other color, this deeper color on the corner. So I'm just trying to, as I use this, decide, is this worth the price point? And there are a few factors that I'm considering here. So performance, of course, is going to be the main factor. Also, the unique quality of this palette. Is it unique in that you can't find anything like it? And it doesn't have to be because the colors are so exciting, but sometimes it can be unique because you have really usable colors all together. So that in itself can be a unique quality. Because even if you have really exciting colors and you don't use them, then to me that's not worth it. Yeah, because I want to be able to use the palette. So usability, I guess, would be another quality I'm looking for when I'm trying to evaluate if something is really worth it or not. So far, these seem to be applying really well. I feel like I need this color to kind of get these two parts together. So let's do that now. Yeah, I like it for that blurring effect, but I like the look of just those three shades together. So we'll just go in really lightly with that. Let's go in and try this as an eyeliner. I can't find my Chantecaille brush, so we'll use this one. See if we can get that as an eyeliner. Yeah, there's almost like a purpley tone in this brown, but this is the one I'm using right now. I'm using this darkest shade right now to try and line. Let's go down here as well. Just want to add a little bit of rose water. I'm going to take my SONIA G brush here. I'm going to take this grayish color and I'm going to go under the lash line. Okay, let me tightline and add some mascara and then we'll try out the blush. So I wanted to just keep that idea of the gray going, so I went in with a Victoria Beckham Beauty eyeliner in Ash. It's a beautiful deep gray color. So I went in the waterline and I tightlined with that. I do want to take a little bit of this though, a little bit more of the grayish and build that crease just a little bit more. Sometimes after I add eyeliner and mascara, I realize I need to add a little bit more in the crease. Just take a little bit more of the deeper color right in here. Fix this a little bit. And of course, that was Chantecaille's Faux Longest Lash Mascara. Okay, let's go in with the blush now. This blush looks very vibrant. Let's go a little bit easy on this at first because I don't know how it's going to apply because you can see really vibrant. Well, it's really vibrant right away. So let me just add a little over here. Let me see if another blush brush. Let me take this Wayne Goss brush because they're not so tightly packed. So it's a little bit more of a gentle application. Yeah, this might be better. That Ray Morris brush picks up a lot of product right away. So this one is much more gentle. So I'm going to see a little bit of the Chanel blush, and then the Chantecaille Manta Ray reminds me of that. Really vibrant. You can bring it all the way up to the front though. It doesn't have, I mean, it says satin, but it is more of a matte than a satin. It does have a glow though, so it's not completely like flat matte. Beautiful blush though. It does have a nice glowy aspect, but you can see little goes a long way here. I would say this does have that lovely skin perfecting kind of aspect I like in blushes. So now you can see the blush, really vibrant. Okay, and then, yeah, we'll swatch some blushes and eyeshadows really quickly at the end, just so we can look at them. But I've got to take a little bit of powder here, and Perfect Blur powder, Chantecaille, and I'm just gonna buff that in. Just taking down that vibrance right here in the front, and then buffing the edges here. Leaving this center part alone though, so it glows. Okay, and then I thought a lovely lip. I thought this would go really well. The Hermes number 21. So 3 of the 4 shades actually exist in a different palette that we'll talk about in a moment by Surratt, because I got some information from you, and then I also looked it up just to make comparisons between the exact colors that are repeats. But this is the Sophisticate. You can see the grays are not the same, and neither are the browns, but we can swatch them really quickly. So here's the Surratt palette. We've got the grayish color and then that brownish black, or I think it's also a gray. And then I'm taking the colors from the Sophisticate here. We have the taupey shade from the Sophisticate, which actually to me looks more grayish than the grayish in the Surratt palette. And then we have here the gray in the Charlotte Tilbury, which you can see doesn't have as much brown. So those are not, I wouldn't call those exactly the same, but if you wanted to compare, if you have both of those, or if you're ever considering them, that's a comparison. It also reminded me a little bit of the Clair Obscur palette by Chanel. Just taking these 2 colors from the Chanel Clair Obscur, this taupey shade and then the gray. So here's the taupe shade in the Chanel palette. Again, that's the Sophisticate by Charlotte Tilbury, and then that's Surratt. And then here is that grayish shade from the Chanel, much less brown, of course. As you can see here, we've got Surratt, Charlotte Tilbury, and then Chanel. Surratt, Charlotte Tilbury, Chanel. And the blush actually reminded me of 2 blushes, so let's swatch those as well. We've got the Surratt palette here. So we're gonna swatch here the Surratt, the Manta Ray. I purchased this as backup, so that's why I haven't used that. I'm gonna swatch the one that I have, which has been used quite a bit. Manta Ray next to Surratt's La Jolie palette. So the Manta Ray is just slightly more coral. There's more pink in the Surratt. Then I did grab this Chanel palette. So the Chanel palette is more salmon-y, I'm gonna say. So really the more vibrant here is the Surratt La Jolie. So there you can see Surratt, Chantecaille, and then Chanel. So let's talk about if this is worth it. Now I did look up the other palettes by Surratt to just kind of check the prices, because I'm not familiar with their pricing or really how much anything is in that line. And the palette that is very similar to this, there are 3 of the 4 shades. Again, thank you so much for letting me know that this appeared in another palette that they had. I looked it up and it doesn't look like it's available on the Surratt site or on Beautylish right now. It's the Beyond Beige palette that has 3 of the 4 shades, and they are the grayish, the Brun Noir and the Satin Salmon. Those are the three that are the same. So I think 1, 2, and 3, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like those are the same. It also looks like the amount you get is the same per pan. So of the 4, they're all the same size as the Beyond Beige palette. And it retails for $100 for just the eyeshadow. So $25 each, and this palette's $150, so then this would be a $50 blush. So I mean, the blushes I pick up are along those lines, like a Chanel blush or Chantecaille. Some of the limited edition blushes are even more than that. So it kind of depends on what you're used to spending on makeup, if this is worth it to you or not. I think the shades were lovely. In terms of performance, I talked about performance. This one I especially loved for the crease. So if you're looking for a really nice crease color, I loved it. It blended beautifully, was really easy to use. I was able to add more and build it up. This color right here was nice. It did build more slowly though than I had anticipated. So I showed you the Sophisticate palette as well as the Chanel Clair Obscur. Those provide a lot more pigment off the bat compared to this, but it did build nicely, and I could tell because I used it as the eyeliner. I thought it worked really well as an eyeliner. So these two colors are nice, really lovely neutral shades if you like neutral colors. This one was lovely, not as shimmery on the lids. Let me just double check, as it had looked when I swatched it. So it definitely swatched more shimmery than it looked on the lids. So that was a kind of a nice comparison to do. So I really liked this as well. I would definitely use these 3. Now this one is kind of like, I don't know if I understand this placement in here because it doesn't have really, I don't know. I think I could see it if it was more warm maybe. Yeah, let me know if you can explain the reasoning behind this. I wasn't quite sure. I would have liked this to be this finish, and then I think the white shade is fine, but I would have preferred something more consistent in the shimmer rather than a duochrome. And then the pink again kind of threw me off. So yeah, I liked these 3, and the blush is beautiful. If you love blush and you want something vibrant, I didn't layer it this time, although in real life, that's probably what I would do. I would go in with a softer blush on top of it, or just add it as a pop of color at the end. But it's a really lovely blush. I think you could see that it went on easily. I did have to go in with a less intense brush, something like this Wayne Goss Artist brush. This one did work much better than the Raymor's. The Raymor's just loaded on the color right away. So I would start off with a different kind of a brush. Performance-wise, lovely. Unique-wise, I mean, it's unique in that there's so many lovely colors that I love together. Again, it would probably be the perfect palette if it wasn't for this. I would have liked to see something else there. Not quite sure what, but something different. And you can trade these out, which is nice. So if you do find something that you like, you can place it in there. But that's the only thing that I think throws this one off for me, is this shade right here. If you're like me and you don't have any Surratt palettes, I think this might be worth it to try, because I think you'll get a lot of use out of this if you like neutral colors and you love blush. I hope that helps you in case you were wondering about it. Of course, there are so many other lovely, lovely products coming out. So look for my videos. You'll probably see one almost every day this week because they are just coming in. I've done overnight shipping on some. So Dior, Chanel, there's a lot of that coming in within the next week. So make sure you're subscribed. If you have not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. And also make sure to hit that notification bell if you want to see them right away, because I already know based on kind of the shipments and how they're coming in, I'm tracking them. They will be arriving at all kinds of hours of the day. So as soon as they arrive, I will unbox them, swatch them, do a video and post it. So you might see some like 11:30 p.m. posting, depending on whenever they get done. So if you'd like to see those right away, make sure to do that. Let me know if you're picking this up, if you've already picked up the Surratt palette. Surratt's new to me. I kind of wanted to expand my brands that I explore this year, and Surratt is one of them because I think that this is a really lovely palette. So let me know what other brands you would like me to look into, or any other products by Surratt that I should be using. But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.